Hey guys, welcome in this new video. I hope that all of you are doing great. In this video, we will take a look at a very good trade that I closed yesterday on NZDUSD. So I will make the screenshot pop on the screen right now. So as you guys can see, that was a very good trade. And in this video, I will break down everything that you need to know about this trade. So the fundamental analysis and also the technical analysis. And I will really share with you guys everything that came into play for this trade. So just before that we get into it, as always guys, please leave a like under the video. I would really appreciate it, and it will just help the channel grow more and blah blah blah, all these things, right? So if I see that this video has a lot of good feedback, I will try to do more of these videos in the future where I bring you guys within my own trading. I don't do these kind of videos that often on this channel. It's more for my private group, but I'll try to do more if you guys really want to see that. So that's one thing, and also make sure that you are subscribed as always to the YouTube channel. All right, so as you guys can see on the screen, that was a very good trade. So this is where I took the trade. My stop was here and my target was basically at this weekly trend line. So I'll come back to this when we do the analysis, but that was the trade basically. So 3.5 risk reward ratio, very, very clean trade. So just before that we get into the whole analysis, what I want to do right now is put a clip of the last weekly review in the Reversal Mastery group. So just to put you guys in context, for those of you who don't know, Reversal Master is my trading course, and in this course, one thing that comes with it is a weekly review video of me where I basically break down all my trades. So I explain all the trades that I take, the winning trades, the losing trades, whatever, right? So everything is transparent basically, and I cover all my analysis, all my forecasts, and what I'm expecting to see on the market. So right now, I will show you guys the weekly review where I did forecast this move, and it was basically the day before that I got in this trade. So you guys will see kind of the thought process, what I was looking at in real time before taking the trade, and then we will come back together in the present moment and we will look at it more in details, and I will explain you guys further things about it. So let's watch this clip. NZDUSD, this might be trying to break out higher, so this could also be the correction in the middle. So just like I said last week, we need to be careful with this one when it breaks the top, because, well, as you guys can see, every time that it broke the top before, it kind of came back down. Now we're getting something a little different here. And what I mean by that is, well, first of all, we broke up, of this downtrend. So that's good. But what we're also seeing right now is that if we look closely at what happened, basically every time that we broke the top, it came back down very fast, right? So here it came back down, here as well. But here we're getting something different. We're getting a correction, right? And so this might be a change in the structure. So instead of this coming back down every time that it breaks the top, if we get a correction, well, I would not be surprised if this actually starts to get some momentum and that we start to see some upside. So this is one trade that I might actually be interested in trading. So if we actually break here and if we start to see some more momentum, I think that this could keep going up, maybe even back to this level. So, you know, with this kind of structure here in place, which is a little bit different than what we got before, it opens the door for more potential upside. So this is one where I think we might get a potential trade. So I'll keep an eye on this one. If we do get the breakout, I might consider taking a trade. If not, if we don't get this kind of breakout here, well, I will just keep the trade, of course, because we might just be making a bigger correction and come back down after that. So it's not really interesting. So I'll wait to see if we get a breakout here. All right, so as you guys saw, that was the forecast of the trade. So very, very nice plan. That is one thing that is really important for you guys to understand in trading. You need to plan your trade, and if the plan triggers, you need to trade the plan, right? So you need to not get emotional and, you know, just drift away from your own strategy, right? So if you plan to see something happening on the chart, and if it happens, and if there is a great opportunity, you need to pull the trigger, and that is exactly what I did with this trade. So let's look at it more in details together. So as you guys can see, you already basically saw a part of the analysis in the weekly review, but there is more to it than what you guys saw, and this is what I want to explain right now. So let's first of all start with the fundamental picture. Okay, so we can separate the analysis in two parts if we want. We can do the fundamental analysis and then the technical analysis. So if we try to look at it from a fundamental analysis, what are we going to find? Well, this is NZDUSD, right? So New Zealand versus the US dollar. So if we start with the NZD, all right, what can we, understand from this when it comes to a fundamental picture? Well, one of the most important things that we need to consider is that at the time of when I took the trade, and it is still true for the moment, but the stock market and equities in general have seen a huge rally, and it just has been going up and up and up and up. If you guys saw one of my last video on YouTube where I basically explained how to trade the stock market in 2020, this is basically what I was explaining. So as long as we don't see a break below the structure in terms of the equities, I was still thinking that this could continue to go up, and this is exactly what we saw. And so this actually was quite important for the NZD, because if you look at the NZD USD chart or the AUD USD chart, for example, as well, you will see that these two currencies tend to follow what the equities are doing. So if equities are pushing higher, then the AUD and the NZD are more likely also to push higher. Of course, it's not a 100% perfect type of correlation, but in general, right, if we look at them in terms of probabilities, well, this is what is more probable to happen. So that was one thing that was important to consider. And there was also the kind of risk on sentiment on the market, which is also a positive thing for the NZD and the AUD. And so if we look at the other AUD or NZD pairs, we will see that a lot of them actually have the very similar move that I just traded on this one. Of course, I will not take the same trade on all the pairs, right? Because at the end of the day, if this move is most likely because of the NZD, for example, and all the other NZD pairs are also following it, well, it's not a good idea to take the trade on every pair, because at the end of the day, it's kind of the same move that you are trading. So I decided to go with the NZDUSD. So that was kind of the fundamental idea for NZD. Nothing really more complex than that. And the USD, I was also thinking that this would lose value for two main reasons if we once again look at it in terms of fundamentals. The first reason is because that we are quantitative easing, right? So the Fed is printing a lot of money. It never stops. And on the long term, this has a negative impact for the USD. Now, it was hard to say if this impact would happen right now or not. But another thing that came into play, which is the second reason for the USD, is because of all the manifestation and all the riots that we are currently seeing in the US. And this has a negative impact as well for the USD. So after the murder of George Floyd, rest in peace, George Floyd. It's very, unfortunate what happened to him, and it's crazy, that we live in a world where we still see things like that, but that's the reality, right? So after this unfortunate event, we started to see a lot of riots, we could say, manifestation in the US, and this has a negative impact, just like I said, on the USD. So if we put these two things together, for the fundamental analysis, what it means that I was expecting NZD to gain value and USD to lose value. And so if we put these things together, it means that NZD USD would go up because both currency would be pushing in the same direction. So that is the fundamental analysis, nothing really more complex than that. These were really the few main points that I was actually taking in consideration. One more thing I probably should add for the NZD. Their country has been very, very good to deal with coronavirus. I think it's one of the best, maybe even the best. I'm not too sure, but I know that they dealt with the virus very, very good. So this was also, positive for the currency. So these were the few points that are important for the fundamental analysis. Now, if we look at the technical analysis, first of all, when we basically started the year, as you guys can see, we had a huge sell-off right here. We even broke this low, and right when we broke this low, for me, I was still looking for more upside after that, because this kind of structure here, you guys can see that the way that this is going down is not really convincing. And if you guys know a little bit about my trading, you know that I care a lot about price action, and that is one of the main things that I look at. So you can clearly see the difference, for example, between a move like this and between a move like this, right? So this is going down. This is convincingly going down. This is a strong move. There is momentum to the downside. This is not the same thing, right? It goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. It's very, very, very slow. So when I see a move like this, sooner or later, I think that eventually we will come back up within this move, right? I mean, you can clearly see the difference by just looking at it. So it means that when we broke this low, I was still expecting eventually a reversal. Now, of course, with this reversal, I had to wait for the structure to come in place. I would not just trade this. And so this is when the trade actually kind of happened on the lower time frame. On this time frame, one more thing we can notice is we have a lot of oversold. That is another point, that we could mention, but it's not that relevant for the trade in itself that I took. So if we go now on the 4 hour, and this is where most of the analysis came into play. So we had this downtrend here, we had the impulse up, we were making a correction, and just like you guys saw in the forecast, one thing that was really important here for this trade is how basically the price reacted around these levels. So if we look previously at what happened, we can see that every time that it broke a new high, well, it came back down right away after doing this, right? So we broke here, we did not really spend a lot of time there, and we came back down. Same thing here, right? So what I was looking at after this break of the downtrend here is to see what the price would do after breaking this level. So are we going to come back down once more and just make a bigger pattern around this level? Or are we going to get a correction here and then go back up? And as you guys can see, that is what I did, and that is what basically I was looking at. Now, it's important to understand the dynamics of the market here and what actually happened. So if we try to, make sense of these moves, well, what we can say is that when the price pushed up, the buyers were in control, but when we broke this level, the sellers became more in control and they pushed the price back down. Same thing that happened here, right? So from this level, the buyers became more in control. Then we broke a new high, and then the sellers became more in control and they pushed back down the price. So if we try to resonate this kind of idea with the price action here, what can we say? Well, we can say that the buyers were strong enough to push the price back up once again to a new high, but this time, instead of the price pushing back down already after breaking, as you guys can see, we made a correction, which means that either some buyers decided to close their trades or some sellers decided to step in on the market. But as you guys can see, it was not enough to make the price go back down. And after that, we actually got the breakout here. So when I did the weekly review, it was on Sunday morning. And after that, on Sunday night, so the same day pretty much, when the market opened, it was right around here. And just before going to sleep, I placed a pending order right above this level here with a stop under here because, well, if we were to come back down, my analysis would not be right. And a target at the weekly trend line that we had right there. And so as you guys can see, well, that was a very good trade. Price broke above, got me in the trade, and it just kept to go up and up and up and up until basically we reached my target. So I decided to get out yesterday around 4 p.m. I think Eastern time, so just before the 5 p.m. where spreads go a little higher than normal, around 65.6. So this was basically the exit right here. I knew that we did not have necessary to touch the trend because the trend is more just like a kind of overall zone, okay, that we can look at. It's not like a 100% precise line that the price has to touch, right? It's more kind of a area around the trend. And because of the time factor as well of yesterday, and because of what I was looking at in terms of the structure, which I will show you guys, I decided to close the trade here. So if we look at it in terms of the structure, we can go on the 1 hour, and there was another trend line that I was looking at. So I think it was something like this. Yeah, there we go, right? So kind of this trend line that we had. And another trend line that we also had was basically this one here, right? And so as you guys can see, the price did react very nicely with these two trend lines here. So when the price basically came very close to the trend, as I said, right before we turned to 5 p.m. and kind of a new trading day, I just decided to close the trade here. We were close enough to the trend and we basically had reached, the overall target that I had. So I decided to close the trade around this level. We also started to have a lot of overbought, as you guys can see on the RSI many times. And so basically with this kind kind of structure, just pushing up and up and up, and every time that it breaks a new high, we always go into a new pullback. When we see this kind of price action, it means that eventually we will get a deeper correction or even a reversal. And so as you guys can see, well, the exit was very nice as well, because, well, not long after closing my trade around here, we saw a reversal in terms of the price. So we came back down, broke this uptrend just like I showed you guys, made a very small correction on the lower time frame. We could see this right here, and then we pushed back down, and now, well, it looks like it's going down for the moment. So of course now you know, the two ways I think are open. We might see more downside, we might see more upside, depending on what structure we make, which is why I'd rather be out of the trade at the moment, because, well, at this point, you know, I think that this idea here was done and the trade is pretty much over. And as you guys can see, I did respect my plan fully, right? I wanted to take the breakout here, and just like you guys saw in the forecasting, my target was the trend, and that is what I did, right? So once again, it's really, really important when you trade to always respect your plan, always respect your strategy, right? It's super, super, super important. Your trading needs to be as mechanical as possible, right? So you just need to be kind of a robot, executing the trades that you know you should take, and not taking the trades that you know that you should not take, if that makes sense, right? So just making sure that you are good at this level is really, really important for your trading success. But yeah, so that was kind of the idea with the analysis. I really did share with you guys every single thing that I was looking at on this trade. Normally when I, you know, was doing these kind of videos on YouTube, I was not explaining literally every single thing, but here I did this. I just thought that I would give you guys really the whole analysis. Hopefully that it helps you, you know. So you guys really saw every single thing that came into play with this trade. There is nothing else that I was really looking at on this one. Everything is right there. So I hope that you guys learned a lot with this video. As you guys can see, it's not that complex, right? But you just need to look at things objectively. And what is a lot more important than just the strategy, for example, is understanding what's actually going on the market, the dynamics of it, you know, the balance between the buyers and the sellers. And then you need also to follow the plan, have a good mindset, and all of these things, right? So there are a lot of components that come into play when it comes to these kind of trades and how to manage these positions. But yeah, so you guys saw everything. Overall, this trade was, I think, 300 pips. Yeah, so around 300 pips. So a very, very nice trade, a pretty big move, right? Even if we look at it on the daily, that was a very nice uptrend that we had, and I just ride the trend, right? As simple as that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can leave a like under it. I would really appreciate it once again, and make sure that you share it as well with your friends. And I think that a lot of people could learn a lot of things from this video. So on that, take care, trade with care, manage money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.